Now, speaking of psyops and disinformation, Candace Owens with the go-to kosher distraction of saying the Jews, the real problem with Jews isn't that they're Jews who think they're chosen by God and are following the Torah and worship Yahweh and have a Zionist agenda for the whole world to worship their Moshiach. No, that's not the problem. The problem is actually these secret Khazarians that are only pretending to be Jews. That's the real problem. Candace Owens with her goy slop, her Daily Wire, Dennis Prager tier Christian kosher opposition, gets 21,000 likes saying Abraham Polak was an Israeli historian and founder of the Department of Middle Eastern History at Tel Aviv University. He was awarded with the Prize for Jewish Thought in 1943 for researching and determining that modern Jews are actual Khazars who mass converted to Judaism. This is actually not true at all. DNA studies completely disprove this. This mass conversion, the original source to it dates back to a Jewish rabbi making up a fictional story about the king of Khazaria converting to Judaism over Christianity and Islam because it's better than them and superior to them. This is gatekeeping the Torah. This is saying Torah is not a problem. Jews following the Torah and Yahweh is not a problem. No, it's the Khazars that's the issue. Total deflection, total obfuscation. And all you got to do is do a Grok or ChatGPT or look into this. This guy and his study were widely criticized as not true, as subsequent studies by the other Jewish guy that did it. Arthur Kessler, who wrote the 13th tribe, which I thought I had here somewhere. I always pull it up. Arthur Kessler's the 13th tribe. He is a Zionist that worked for Jabotinsky, the big Zionist, the founding of Israel. And he said this book helps stop anti-Semitism because it's telling Christians in the world and Gentiles, it's all the kosher QAnon. It's promoted by a bunch of Jews like Benjamin Friedman and also Benjamin Fulford. Yeah, the Khazari book is where they get the source of this mass conversion, which is disproved with genetics. Yeah, the Khazari book written by the rabbi was a fan fiction mythical story about how Judaism was superior to Christianity and Islam. It wasn't a real correspondence. It's another forgery. So I like what Keith Woods wrote here, a W for Keith Woods. He says, the Khazar theory is wrong. Recent studies on Khazar skeletons show they have no connection to Ashkenazi Jews. And genetic studies of Jews show that Ashkenazi retain. So even if you just grant, okay, maybe the Ashkenazis were Khazarians, you still have the Sephardic Jews, you still have the Mizrahi Jews, so they're not Khazarians, and they're still involved with Kabbalah and the founding of Israel and everything. So, but it's not true, and genetic studies show that Ashkenazi Jews do share a lot of DNA with Sephardic, with even Palestinian Arabs in that region. Another good point Keith makes. It's funny how Candace apparently distrusts Jewish sources on everything else, but doesn't apply her conspiratorial lens to the Khazar theory itself, which she says here was promoted by Jews and was promoted by the Jew Arthur Kessler as well. To stop anti-Semitism. They say that their motive was this is going to decrease anti-Semitism. It's going to get Gentiles chasing dead ends, chasing ghosts. So when it's convenient for Candace, she says the Jews are liars, they're lying. But when a Jew says the Khazar theory is real, she believes it. Normally, she's like,
Jew, guilty, you're Jew, doesn't matter.
But if she can spin some Jew that's saying, that's so perfect timing. I'm glad I remembered it. But if a Jew supports what she says, then she believes it. And all of this is deflection. She'll never criticize the Torah. In fact, Candace says explicitly, she does not oppose Judaism. Because she's a Christian, she does not condemn the Torah. In fact, Arthur Kessler, author of the 13th Tribe, which promoted the Khazar theory and really popularized it, admitting to being enthusiastic about the theory because it would undermine anti-Semitism. According to the biographer, Kessler says, quote, once convinced that if he could prove that the bulk of Eastern European Jews were descended from Khazars, the racial basis, so they're not Jews, now they're whites. Now it's white people that are doing this in Israel. It's not Jews to blame. It's Jews are the victims here of the Khazars. See how that works? It would remove anti-Semitism, could disappear. That was the motive for the advocates of the Khazar theory. I'll figure it out, Zornder Edom. I'll see where it's at. Not surprisingly, then, this theory remains popular with people who want to criticize quote-unquote Zionist while avoid accusations of anti-Semitism and denying race, and criticizing the Torah in Judaism and real Jews. And the Christians want to spin the synagogue of Satan of Revelation verse to say that that's a prophecy about the Khazars claiming they're Jews but not. Let's see this. Star of Remphan. Let's see this.
Don't forget
video.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh, it's Benjamin Fulford, the conspiracy kook that says the most outrageous things. Everybody's a clone. Everything's
Trevkis sent $5 on Rumble. Hey dude, from your research, are Jews a distinct race or what the deal with them? Where do they come from?
I think they go back to the Levant. Probably a mix of people around the Levant, Canaanites. And then Ashkenazis, I think they just mixed with some European. Sephardic mixed with wherever else they went a little bit, but their DNA does all trace back together in the Middle East. Okay, let's hear Benjamin Fulford, who I believe is Jewish. Listen to how it exonerates real Jews in Judaism and says, oh, it's this Khazars and they're pretending to be Jews. And they secretly worship Satan, and it's not real Jews, and there's no Jewish Torah conspiracy. That's not what's really involved here. It's actually something else.
Don't forget Benjamin Netanyahu. And I have another thing I want to tell the Jewish people. You are a God-fearing, good people ruled by Satan-worshiping gangsters, okay?
So they say God-fearing Yahweh. They're not worshiping Yahweh. They're worshiping Satan. You're not getting it. They worship Yahweh. And Yahweh is the Jewish God that wants to rule the world. This Satan and Khazarian bullshit is kosher distraction, disinformation. That's what this guy is.
Israeli flag should have been the menorah. Instead, you have a satanic symbol, okay? That is a satanic symbol on your flag. That is not a Jewish symbol. Why isn't the menorah on the Israeli flag? I'll tell you why. Because
the star is a Jewish symbol. Numbers, the most messianic verse, Numbers 24:17, the messianic star that will come out of Jacob. That represents the Messiah. That's why you see the Star of David in some Christian churches also.
Rothschild family who created Israel worship Lucifer. They worship Satan. They don't worship Yahweh. They're not.
See? Oh, they worship Satan, not Yahweh, which implies there's nothing wrong with Yahweh. It's not Yahweh, the jealous God that wants to rule the world with his Messiah and the chosen people. That's not the conspiracy, which it is. No, it's the secret Khazarians that you could never prove that are secretly eating babies and worshiping Satan and have their own phallic, whatever, all the bullshit they say. They have their own phallic religion and it's all secretly Khazar. Yeah, all these rabbis, they want you to believe these rabbis don't really believe the Torah and Talmud. No, that they close the synagogue doors and they're like, oh, now let's put on our robes and start worshiping the Khazar God. That doesn't happen.
Real Jews. Their real name is Bauer. They're using you. And you're making fools of yourself by going along with this insane plan. Hurry up and arrest those.
The insane plan is in the Bible. The plan they're following is in the Bible. It's not some Khazar fake Jew plan. It's the Bible. Bible, Talmud, Zohar plan.
Those criminals who have taken over leadership of your society. This is not a joke. There's enough evidence out there for everybody to know it's true. It's all over there. Anybody who has done
all the evidence shows the opposite, actually. And Candace Owens, the leading voice of anti-Zionism, is now spouting the kookiest, fringiest, QAnon tier schizo conspiracies that only serve to actually run cover for Jews. That's what Candace is doing. Her Christian kosher it's the Christian stuff, it's the synagogue of Satan, it's the Frankists, it's the Khazars, anything but the Torah. I wish I could find. I should look for the clip of Candace saying she won't criticize Judaism. Here, I'm going to look for that right now.
This is not a joke. There's enough evidence out there for everybody to know it's true. It's all over there. Anybody who has done any research in the well-documented, thoroughly proven facts will know that a criminal gang has controlled your financial system for the past 300 years, and they are planning genocide, and they must be stopped.
criminal bankers planning genocide, all of that's rooted in the Bible. That's not Khazar stuff. He goes, oh, you're God-fearing and you worship Yahweh, but no, they're actually bad. No, it's actually the God-fears worshiping Yahweh that would get the money lending and the ruling the world. Here's Candace saying she'll never condemn the Torah.
Trick.
This is why it's controlled opposition. You're not opposing Zionism and Judaism and Yahwehism and Moshiachism if you worship all of those.
Now, I am a Christian. So for me to make that statement that Judaism is a pedophile-centric religion would mean that I believe the Torah condones pedophilia. And of course, that cannot be the case because I am a Christian. And so those first books in my Bible are relevant. But of course, they knew I didn't say that. The point is that they had the audacity to lie, and then they knew. Now, I am a Christian. So for me to make that statement that Judaism is a pedophile-centric religion would mean that I believe the Torah condones pedophilia. And of course, that cannot be the case because I am a Christian. And so those first books in my Bible are relevant. But of course, they knew I didn't say that. The point is that...
See, she's a Christian, so she cannot condemn Judaism because she believes the Torah is in her Christian Bible. This is why it's limited hangout, partial, superficial opposition to Judaism, what Candace is doing. And now we see the Khazar distraction being pumped with 20,000 likes. It's so kosher and subversive, guys. I'm telling you. And I'm not on a limb here. A lot of the leading anti-Semites of the past have also said this about the Khazar thing. I know David Duke and McDonald. What is McDonald's name? Kevin McDonald? Is that it? Culture Critique, Kevin McDonald. He says it's nonsense as well.
Benjamin.
Now we got another TikTok mix. The Star of David and Satan.
When you see the rabbis giving the rabbinical blessing, just remember it's connected to the goat god. The Star of David is actually a hexagram, which was the original astronomical symbol for the planet Saturn. Saturn was always pictured in the ancient astronomical.
I don't believe that they didn't have telescopes. They could not see that symbol on Saturn. I wonder if this is
text
true.
When you see the rabbi.
By the way, this guy, Jordan Maxwell, he was part Jewish, and he was always trying to exonerate the Jews and say, oh, it's the Romans, it's the Babylonians, it's all of this stuff.
When you see the rabbis giving the rabbinical blessing, just remember it's connected to the goat god. The Star of David is actually a hexagram, which was the original astronomical symbol for the planet Saturn. Saturn was always pictured in the ancient astronomical text during the Middle Ages and the medieval times as a Star of David, six-pointed star, two triangles in
the Middle Ages. Interposed.
The Babylonians would draw a triangle on the ground and then draw an opposing triangle, making the six-pointed star or hexagram, then draw a circle around that hexagram. And
okay, look, we got another answer too here. The Greco-Roman Esoteric Association. So the symbol in Hellenistic astrology did represent Saturn. So it's not just early Jewish mysticism. The six-pointed figure could be linked to planetary magic, and Saturn had strong mystical associations with the Sabbath. Medieval Jewish grimoires. What is that? Like a burial thing? Or books? The Kabbalistic talisman used a hexagram specifically in Saturn seals. The Key of Solomon, a medieval magical text influenced by Jewish, Arabic, and Greco-Roman, contains a Saturn seal drawn as a hexagram or a shape. Indeed associated with Saturn, which was one of the biggest astrological bodies that they could see with the naked eye without telescopes. All right. Confirmed.
Medieval times as a Star of David, six-pointed star, two triangles interposed. The Babylonians would draw a triangle on the ground and then draw an opposing triangle, making the six-pointed
grimoires are demon catalogs
star or hexagram, then draw a circle around that hexagram and stand inside of it. Now you're inside the magic circle, putting the hex on someone. So that's where we get the word to putting the hex on you, is because the six-pointed star is a hex. So today we have Jews going around the world proud to show you that they've got the hex put on them. Phoenician language, Saturn is spelled Shabbath. Shabbath in the Phoenician language is Saturn. And from Shabbat we get Sabbath. So therefore the Hebrew Sabbath is the worship of the goat god connected to the planet Saturn. That's why the Hebrews have their holy days or Sabbath on sundown Friday night and to sundown Saturday night, because that's Saturn, or Saturn's day, or Saturday.
Did they know that Saturn was that they could see with the naked eye was the farthest away planet, the 7th planet?
Matrix and the Forbidden Knowledge
Is that what they're
volumes.
getting at?
1 to 5.
Saturn is Satan, David Icke.
Happened and horned when the
I don't believe they could see the formation, though, on the pole.
The North Pole, the northern pole
time.
of Saturn, Islamic people, as I call it, could outside Earth wasn't there or was nothing. A sequences do contain a structured language, fundamental.
And if they were associating it with the Sabbath, then it's a Sabbath figure or a Sabbath symbol. It's still Jewish. It was still at some point incorporated with the Jews. And nobody claimed the Jews were the original ones to come up with that symbol. I mean, it's a very common symbol that people can come up with. Wasn't that symbol found all over the world too, pre-Jewish times also?